Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Damage Issue 4. This is of course part of the New Age of Heroes, spawned from DC Metal. Now as I understand it, the New Age of Heroes is trying to focus more on art, but from what I can tell it's not really working because a lot of the art in these books has been crap. Damage has been really good up till now. See this beautiful cover we've got? Don't get used to that. It's a beautiful cover that is not representative of the art inside. The art inside is, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Storyteller, Cary Nord, and Robert Venditti. Now, Robert Venditti is the writer on here, so the art is by Cary Nord. Notice he's listed first, because, like I said, it looks like they're focusing on the artist. Colorist was Tomeu Mori. Letter, Tom Napolitano. Cover by Daniel, Miki, and Mori. Associate editor Brittany Holzherter, edited by Jessica Chen. The story was okay. We pick up with Ethan in the back of a semi. He ends up getting caught, but we get a flashback of him getting worked on and the first time he transformed into Damage, which was actually a good concept for a 2-page spread, sort of like he's hulking out. He's strapped to a gurney and destroys everything when he hulks out. Well, he meets Jorge Hernandez, who is the trucker, and he of course lies about his name. And meanwhile, the Colonel is tracking him with this hired team. One guy's called Handyman, one's Misha, one's called Paparazzi, and they're sort of like special ops hunters. They specialize in tracking people down. They're kind of ridiculous, but interesting characters that probably would have turned up by now and probably been murdered, honestly. And they might yet. Anyway, we cut over to a truckload of illegals with Ethan in the truck, and of course they speak broken Dora the Explorer Spanish, where they speak almost perfect English with a few words of Spanish randomly thrown in. That's so annoying. It's kind of racist, actually. Anyway, they're supposed to be working this field, and the lush greenery is not supposed to be there. And of course, we're talking about Poison Ivy being the villain. And we knew she was in this because we saw her like page 2, but it's kind of a disjointed story. So Poison Ivy, who's green and not fleshy colored like she's on the cover, grabs everyone with vines, and that of course forces Ethan to transform into Damage, and he beats the crap out of a truck trying to get to her, but he is grabbed and wrapped in tendrils of vines or something, and they're jammed down his throat, and that's where the issue ends. He's still got 58 minutes left on before he transforms back, and that could be really bad. Overall, the story was okay. I don't like the Dora the Explorer Spanish. It's very annoying and super racist, I think. The art is horrifically bad. It is incredibly heavily penciled. There's lots of dark lines that seem to create weird shading, and I don't like the art style at all. I think it works better in like Vertigo titles or, I don't know, indie books, but a superhero book, this type of art style just looks really disjointed and crappy, and I kind of hate it in everything. It looks lazy because the anatomy's all over the place and people have weird features, and it really kind of breaks the immersion. So I thought the story was okay. Not the best one so far, but everybody's allowed to miss, I guess. It was an average read, but the art is terrible, and that really ruined it for me. So I'm not going to recommend this. I thought the concept was cool, but I think it would have been cooler and a better story if they had been in a marshy area like the swamps or the bayou type area. If you're going to have it down south, have it in the bayou, because that would be way more interesting to have this problem, like a mystery with Poison Ivy controlling plants, but nobody knows it's her. They think it's Swamp Thing, and Damage kind of blunders in, and he's been hearing legends and stuff. That would have been better. A grain field in Louisiana, that would have worked better in like Nebraska or Southern California. That would have been a much more interesting setting for that. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some missed opportunities here. It's an average story with terrible art. Usually a good story can at least help negotiate some bad art, and good art can help negotiate a bad story, but in this case this is a miss for me. It's easily the weakest story so far for Damage. The cover's great though. I love the cover. So I can't recommend this one. I think this was a miss for me. But that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you for listening and supporting the channel, and we hope to see you on the next one.